Hello everyone. Today we thought we're going to share a neat recipe idea with you that you can make with one of our breads. This here is our Crusty Artisan Bread that we sell, which is perfect for the recipe we're going to share with you, which is a cheesy garlic pull-apart bread. This particular bread is perfect for it because it is nice and sturdy and it doesn't disintegrate as you bake it from the butter that's in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to slice it one way and then slice it another way to make kind of cubes out of it, but we're not going to cut all the way through to the bottom. This bread here in particular, I baked a couple days ago, so it's definitely a day-old bread. Not super stale, but just a bit on the stale side, which is great. The butter will make sure that it rehydrates and freshens up in the oven. You can use fresh bread. It's just a little harder to cut. This bread in particular tends to be a little bit sticky on the inside when you cut it, so a stale bread is a little easier to cut. So here we go. Okay, so we cut just about right down to the base, but not all the way through, just so it holds together in the oven. And then I'm gonna do the quick and speedy version of the garlic bread, but if you are meticulous, you can cut it the other way first and then put the garlic butter in that way, but I'm just gonna spread it into each of these slices. And then as I cut it into squares or diamond shapes, if you will, it will spread the butter at the same time. Now you don't have to be too concerned about going all the way to the bottom, just because as the butter melts, it'll run down a little bit anyhow. So it will do the job for you. Okay, so I have spread garlic butter into each of these slices. And I also have preheated the oven to 350 degrees. So that's what we want to bake it at. And the garlic butter that I use is the one that we sell. That's just our personal favorite. It is loaded with garlic and just the right amount of herbs that it has enough of a kick for us. So I'm going to cut it the other way now, and as I cut it, the butter should spread to the perpendicular slices. But like I said, if you're more meticulous, you can just cut it first and then spread the butter everywhere. All right, so I did cut it all the way through the other way to make diamonds or square shapes. And we're also gonna add some shredded cheese. I happen to have mozzarella in the house, but you can use cheddar. You can use probably Parmesan petals. That would melt nicely too. Anything that melts well in the oven and doesn't stay grainy or hard. Okay, and so we're just gonna stuff the slices with some cheese. That'll help it become nice and gooey. Now, if you wanna make this a heartier meal, you can add bacon bits or chopped up pepperoni slices. That would add some nice oomph to it. And then this way, maybe you just have to serve it with a side salad or whatever, and it would be fine. Okay, so we have stuffed this bread now with plenty of cheese as well. We're going to transfer it to a piece of aluminum foil because after this it's going to get a little bit messy. There we go. So before we stick it in the oven, I did save a little bit of the garlic butter and melted it because I do want to brush it on top so that the crust also absorbs some of the flavor. It doesn't have to be super exact. You just kind of brush it on a little. And that'll add even more flavor to the whole thing. Okay, it's ready to go. So we're gonna wrap this tightly in foil for the first little bit of baking, and then for the last little bit, we're gonna unwrap it just to help it crisp up and brown nicely. Okay, I will also place it on a baking sheet just in case there's a little bit of butter that drips out of it. I wanna make sure it doesn't mess up my oven. So this is going to go into the oven, again 350 degrees. It's going to go into the oven for about 20 minutes, and then after that we're going to open it up and brown it for another 5 to 10 minutes, and it's ready to go. Okay, this bread was in the oven now for the first 20 minutes. We're gonna open the aluminum foil now and then let it bake another 5 or so until it's nice and crispy. Oh, that looks good. All right, so this bread was in the oven another 10 to 15 minutes or so. I just wanted to make sure that the mozzarella was properly melted. You definitely want it to melt all the way, otherwise you're just gonna be eating blobs of hard cheese, which is never a lot of fun. So you can serve this right away. If you serve this as a party food and it ends up cooling down, you know, over the course of an hour or two, you can always briefly reheat it on a microwave safe plate for you know, a minute or so in the microwave, and it should retain its crispiness and it will just turn nice and warm and gooey again. As far as a make-ahead option, this is perfect because you can do all the prep work all the way to the point where you wrap it in aluminum foil and then just stick it in the refrigerator until you're ready to use it. You want to probably bake it for an extra 5 minutes wrapped in aluminum foil just to allow for the extra chill to be baked out of the bread, and otherwise though it will turn out exactly the same. Here's your next party food.